Anyway, I threw up this first slide, the knobbly wobbly ball, and I just want to say that some dogs get it. So, all right, it's an early morning. This first thing I'm going to play for you is an image of two tetrahedrons that are intersecting and oscillating inside. It comes out of my, what I call it, the amazing geometry machine. The music is by Derwin Holder, who's a friend of mine. If you look him up, he has great music on his site, and it's called Fugue in One Part. Also, if you go to yourspace.com, this image has been playing for about the last 10 years this way. Okay, so this is the amazing geometry machine. That's where that comes from. It's actually tubes with strings that I invented, but the tubes will slide in and out. And then the edges of the polyhedra will change, and that's where that animation comes from. So quickly, I want to just show you all the permutations of icosahedral symmetries. And I know we're pressed for time, so I'm going to do it quick. Okay, did you see that? Okay. So I invented this Tetraball puzzle years ago. I showed it to John Conway. It was always sort of a favorite of his, and I was always showing it back and forth, to him. He said, "Oh, let me have a puzzle. I'll give it to my students." Eventually, we got together and we wrote this paper. And one of the things that John brought to the game, it's 5 different tetraballs, was the idea of just changing these colors along the edge of the tetrahedron. So it's 4 colors, and 4 colors will pair up into 6 pairs of color. There happen to be 6 edges on a tetrahedron. So you get every pair on every edge. And whatever color isn't on the edges of those 3 is in the center. So it's a very nice arrangement. So this was what I showed to John, and then John said, well, we could exchange the edges. So I went back and I put some rubber bands on it, and I brought it back, and we wound up writing this paper together a couple years ago and submitting it to Games and Puzzles. So that brings us to what I like to do with the icosahedron. I usually think of the platonic solids in their sphere. So there's 12 spheres that make the centers for the icosahedron. And interestingly enough, after doing that puzzle, I decided, well, I knew this pattern. And so there's a 4-color pattern. So just a spoiler alert, there is a puzzle out. Some of you may have seen it. I had it there. This is pretty much how you solve that puzzle. So you can see the postcards. It's nice because, again, you have the 6 arrangements of 4 colors, and they're actually on every plane. So all 4 colors are on every plane. And then the way, so this is actually the guts of that puzzle. So you can see what's going on there. And basically, the kind of tricky part of the puzzle is they slide around. So they're on bungee cords, and they'll get off axes. So if you don't know that, you have to kind of realign it. And then what you do is you go through flipping each one. And it actually goes through the permutations of a 4-color, the 4-coloring of the dodecahedron. And I'd shown this to John, and John was saying, well, he knew about all the colors together in a triangle, which is what he would call short, 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 in an equilateral triangle. And of course, the coloring where no color touches its own color which he calls long, long, long. Well, in between, there's short, short, long, and then long, long, short. So if you see, I have 4, 5, 6, 7 here, but 1, 2, 3, 4 are just the opposite of that. So I usually start on number 4 when I get it ready. Okay, real quickly, divided spheres. So icosahedron, this is 60 from Ed Popko. This is a tensegrity. This is a model of part of that. And then what's interesting, once you put these all together, you get the pentagons and the triangles, and they are on different planes. So you have your 12 pentagons and your 20 triangles. So that's good. Thank you.
Thanks, Dick.